First, just really want to extend a huge congratulations to all the organizers of AINAC and AINAC. It's excellent to see so many Cambridge graduates and PhD students. I'm slightly biased in that department. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I address you today during what is an unprecedented period of change in the Arab world. It's many things at once. It's a struggle for social justice, openness, women's roles, and transparent governance. But most of all, it's a reaction to an ever-widening deficit in the economic opportunity for tens of millions of young Arabs who see these opportunities elsewhere on social media, the internet, and satellite television, and wonder why they don't have the same. It is exacerbated by what has been referred to as a demographic time bomb on the verge of exploding within our region. Today I'd like to speak to you about why I think social entrepreneurship can be harnessed and embraced to address these challenges in the Arab world, and how the Pearl Initiative can provide a platform for companies to get involved in the business of tomorrow. A triple bottom line approach which invests in the very society of which the company is a part of. But first things first, what is social entrepreneurship? For me, it's about utilizing the private sector through incentive-based partnerships with the public sector, the global agencies, and the non-profit sector to embrace the many issues that face our increasingly globalized society and integrating this approach into the fabric of our business models. Now, just to be clear, social entrepreneurship is not about wealthy individuals or corporations who give away some of their wealth to the less fortunate. That is philanthropy or charity, and of course, that has an important place. Social entrepreneurship, by contrast, is about repackaging capitalism and redefining business models so that businesses are not just incentivized and accountable for producing profitable organizations financially, but also accountable for producing a profitable organization in addition to generating a positive social and environmental impact. Never has this been more relevant today with the hangover of a global financial crisis and the explosion in social media and other channels as ways of putting the spotlight on the social challenges that the underprivileged face. A business approach to addressing these problems is the so-called triple bottom line, measuring the economic, social, as well as ecological impact of businesses. In other words, the profit, planet, and people, or the 3 Ps. A growing range of programs and institutions led by social entrepreneurs has demonstrated that if the products and services that we provide are well designed to meet the needs of the less fortunate, then the base of the economic pyramid can be served effectively and profitably, providing both an economic and social return. Now, these social returns will of course vary depending on place, time, and focus. Examples of these social returns might include empowering communities through capacity building, supporting social equality and creativity, helping to bridge cultural divides, or indeed helping to repair ecologically damaged areas. But what they have in common is that they must be approached in a sustainable as well as scalable manner, locally as well as globally. To me, this is a new form of creative capitalism, generating these sustainable business models and redefining what it is to be successful business in today's world. In a nutshell, it's about organizing our marketplace of ideas and egos in order to find practical ways to reconcile interests with responsibilities. And no place on earth can this benefit more from social entrepreneurship than in the Arab world. The Middle East and North Africa have the highest youth unemployment in the world, currently over 25%, with pockets reaching up to 60% in places like Egypt and Tunisia. Female youth unemployment is even higher, more than 39% across the Middle East. A third of the region's total population is currently below the age of 15 and 65% under 30. And so tens of millions of young people will enter the workforce over the next 10 years, needing to find jobs either at home or through regional labor mobility. Here are the facts. 100 million jobs need to be created in the Arab world in the next 2 decades, more than what was created in the last century. And that's quite a challenge, to say the least, and that's just to ensure unemployment doesn't increase. The region will need $100 billion per year over the next 20 years, or $2 trillion, to meet the region's infrastructure needs. However, fiscal constraints facing the region's governments means that there is a financing gap of approximately 30 to 40 billion a year. And if that weren't enough, the persistent failure of the educational systems in large parts of the Arab world to provide the necessary skills to our youth to compete in an evolving job market that is in a continuous state of evolution and flux has compounded the problem. So we must find an answer to this now. And any solution which creates jobs is going to have to involve the private sector. The business sector, together with government and civil society, in public-private partnerships, has a vital role to play in delivering innovative solutions to the growing youth unemployment problem. Small and medium enterprises play a central role across the entire MENA, and the expansion of this sector is a key engine of future economic growth. Every prosperous society in modern human history has had a vibrant SME sector. SMEs account for a high proportion of employment in most countries, averaging 70–75% in Europe and North America, for example, but only 33% in the MENA region. Right now we face a crisis in the Arab world, led by instability, extremism, and the inevitable disillusionment that comes when huge expectations are not fulfilled overnight. But from crisis comes opportunity for companies in the region to engage in finding solutions to social problems. They can encourage and support young people in their efforts to start up small micro-enterprises, something which must be helped by tackling the many obstacles that budding entrepreneurs face, such as excessively bureaucratic company registration, lack of access to financing, and inadequate bankruptcy protection. The imperative to transform entrepreneurship in the region is derived from the employment problem, but it goes much further than that. It helps to drive the maturity of economies in the MENA region. Fostering entrepreneurship in young people is critical to our economic development. I'm also speaking to you today as founder of the Pearl Initiative, which is a Gulf-based non-for-profit organization set up by the private sector and for the private sector. The Pearl Initiative was launched at the United Nations headquarters in New York in 2010 in collaboration with the United Nations Office for Partnerships to foster a culture of corporate transparency, accountability, good governance, and best business practices in the Arab world. It's a growing regional network of business leaders committed to driving joint action and sharing knowledge and experience. And our goal from the start has been to demonstrate that good governance enables long-term direct value creation. Our partners cooperate with us on various issues of common interest in such important areas as ethical labor practices, workplace issues, corporate governance, anti-corruption, and reporting practices. In order to work towards what is our shared goal, to enhance the capabilities of the private sector to develop and implement new ideas and better business practices across the Arab world. And we're also putting together a framework for action going forward that will leverage the strengths of our organizations in helping to address the challenges of employment, youth skills, and entrepreneurship in the region. Through advocacy, a call to action to the wider business community, raising awareness, policy debate, exchanging of good practices, and sharing of experiences, we are confident that our efforts will bear fruit. And I truly believe that now, more than ever, it is crucial that companies prioritize good business practices to foster a stable business climate and incorporate the triple bottom line thinking into their corporate ethos. Now, it's no surprise that many foreign investors have been frightened away by uncertainty surrounding the so-called Arab Spring. But good governance is imperative to rebuilding trust and forging new relationships. And so this partnership a holistic approach and recognition of the company as a good citizen in a way that goes way beyond public relations is the so-called triple bottom line. So we must measure the economic, social, as well as ecological impact of businesses. And I therefore believe that social entrepreneurship is the key to a prosperous Arab economic future. Ladies and gentlemen, we must never stop thinking creatively about our future. Whatever motivates us, whether it's fair or global trade or saving the gorillas, we must not conceive of the future as an empty space to be colonized by the present and driven by the market. Instead, we must search for new conceptual business models and new business metaphors. Creativity, at the end of the day, sets us apart from other species. Yet so often we stand in our own way, keeping its full potential unrealized. The internet has changed our lives for the better, but what about developing our internet? How about some virtuous reality to go with our virtual reality? We can be children of our past and masters of our present, but also have a responsibility to become creators and custodians of our future. Ladies and gentlemen, every right comes with a responsibility. Remember what Edward Gibbon wrote over 200 years ago. And when the freedom they wished for the most became freedom from responsibility, then Athens ceased to be free. And we here in our beloved UAE and the wider Middle East are playing a hugely important role in the ongoing process of the creation of a truly global community. And the cornerstones of our vision must embrace the values from which time immemorial have been a part of the collective consciousness of the human species, which has ensured our survival and which has stood the test of time. Respect for life, human dignity and worth, responsibility towards future generations, and protection of our habitat. Now, my faith forces me to be optimistic, and I believe that we can do this. Our learning curve goes up with our problem curve, and our collective learning curve is getting steeper, not flatter. There are no problems that the human mind cannot solve, and there is always time. As the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, if an individual has an opportunity to plant a tree, even if he knows that the day of judgment is imminent, let him plant a tree. Let him plant a tree. You are the future, and this is your challenge. Thank you.